Hey guys, I just wanted to share something cool that I've been working on. Recently, I've been getting a lot into creating these agentic and automated workflows, and so I just want to create this YouTube channel to share my learning journey and hopefully any cool stuff that I've created along the way. So this is the very first thing that I've created, the very first system, and it's an Instagram appointment setting agent. So it's kind of like an appointment setter where essentially it just finds leads for you, it finds their profile, and then it starts a warm up sequence. So it follows them and posts them to warm up the account. And then it also sends the DMs, sends the hook message, the pitch messages, any follow up sequences, any booking confirmation messages that you want, all of that to ensure that, you're actually getting leads booked into your calendar. And the way it does it, to create this agent, I use the WAP framework with Claude Code. And this is the WAP framework is workflows, agent, and tools. I would recommend checking out Nate Herc's if you aren't too familiar with that, but I won't really go too much into the technical details of creating this. I just kind of want to demo this, but if this gets interesting, you guys want to learn how to create something similar for your marketing agency or something like that, please let me know and I can create like a more in-depth video. But essentially what it does, the workflows, of course, find leads on Google. So it's connected to a Google Maps API. So it can see all the Google My Businesses. So any profile, any information that's publicly available, like email or websites, this can scrape it. And so it finds the websites of, say, a tattoo shop in Houston. Then this Instagram discovery workflow then looks at the HTML code in that website and sees if there's a profile, an Instagram profile URL embedded in it. And then that's how it finds the actual verified Instagram profile of the business to ensure that, you're actually reaching out to the correct person, the correct business. And then this is a workflow that actually sends the messages. So, and here check responses just to make sure that the agent has a very clear idea of when to check responses. Believe it or not, this was probably the biggest issue that I had. And the sequence logic just to make sure, depending on what they reply, there's kind of like an AI categorizer that says, yes is a positive response, no is a negative response, stuff like that, right? And if there's no response, then go into a follow-up sequence. If there's an edge case, like an edge response, say you sent them a pitch and then they reply, how much does this cost, right? They can't really categorize into positive, negative, or no response. And so, what do you do in that situation? You send an email to the user saying, hey, this guy replied with an edge response. And then of course, all this is logged into Google Sheets just to provide easy access. And I'll just demo it now and hopefully you guys can see what it looks like more in action. This here, I don't really use it. Neither do I. Neither this workflow here. This is just a VPS. So this would just create a separate IP address so the agent can run when my computer isn't on. But the problem is that it's a separate IP address. So Instagram would know this isn't me and it'd probably flag as a bot. So here is the demo. As you can see, I use Playwright API. So I'm not actually controlling this computer. This agent Playwright is just controlling it for me. It just scrolls into it. I gave it access to my Instagram account. And then now I can, see the profile of my lead and send them a message. So you should be seeing it in action shortly. I also have another tab open so you can see what it would look like from the lead point of view. And yes, as you can see, it's having a little bit of trouble, but it should click the message button and then send the first message, which would be the hook to this lead or this mock lead, I should say. As you can see, I've been trying it out a little before this. This is like the entire follow-up sequence. But here I should send the first hook message. Hey, do you still have room for more clients? Yes. And so if you look at the Google Sheets, which is where I log everything, there should be, the sequence should say hook sent and the lead status should be contacted, right? Because you've only contacted them the very first time. It logs when it sent it, the last message sent, and then it will also log the response. So as you can see, I already replied yes. And so here it says when I replied, it categorizes that as negative or positive, or edge case or no response. And then now it knows to move it to the correct follow-up sequence, right? And so since I replied in a positive way, it knows that it should now pitch. And so that should be what's happening right now. As you can see, pitch is sent. Let's look at it from this point of view. And this is all happening in this like Playwright tab, right? So this is the pitch, and then I just won't reply, no response. So that way you can just get a look of how the follow-up sequence works. If I don't respond, then it should like show here, and then the sequence will continue accordingly. Some other cool stuff that happens is that you can see the metrics more in depth here. As you know, I've already run, like here you can see I already sent a hook message. This had no response. This is for batch 1. So this is a previous live test that I did. The one that we're doing right now is batch 2. So here you can see the hook. We just sent one hook because we just have one message in this live test. It had a positive response. We didn't have to send a hook follow up, so we just sent a pitch. This had no response, and so now they've sent the pitch follow up one. Sorry, my English is very bad. I don't know what's happening to me right now, but these are just some cool stuff that you can see some failure logs, the edge cases, some audit logs, total metrics, overview. Like it's just cool stuff, just so you can understand, is your script working? Are you getting responses? Not just is your agent performing? Are there any errors, stuff like that, but just is the actual script getting you responses, or booked leads, I should say. And here, let me just go in and reply to, and then say, here it's about to see the last follow up, so I'll just let it type it out. Just didn't want you missing out if getting more clients is something that you're working on. Now it should say something. I'll just say no, just so you guys can see how the lead is categorized after the entire sequence is done. It's taken a long time because essentially I created a tool to humanize typing speed, because Instagram it flags a lot of things very easily, and so I didn't want that to happen. So I created some safeguards to that. As you can see, it just closed out because no is a negative response and it ends the sequence immediately. And you should see that accordingly. Over here, you can see we got a new dead qualified lead total here in week 2. So this is the week 2 batch, the one that we just did. We got a dead qualified lead because we were able to pitch them, so we had a good hook sequence, right? However, they had a bad response to our pitch, and so it just became a dead lead essentially. So this is just like essentially what I've created. It's very rudimentary. It's an MVP, but I think it's pretty cool, and I'll definitely be using it for my own marketing agency. And I hope, if you guys are interested, I can kind of walk you through how to create something like this, what tools, what to connect, what exactly to say in your workflow